Good morning, officers. Why I specifically mentioned the officers? With new week and new energy, I am back with new topic, new subject. I hope everyone is doing good. And now it's time for the IR to discuss because today is Monday, and as per our schedule, just a minute. So today's our topic is IR. In that also we are going to discuss two countries relationship, India and Mauritius, and India and Israel. Okay. So let me open this. So this is yesterday's news. If you are aware, then you will get to know that yesterday India for the first time, India has voted against the Israel in UNGA in New York Declaration. What that declaration is, what does it mean for India-Israel relationship? We are going to discuss all the multifaceted dimension of India-Israel relationship. But the news, why I have taken the India-Israel relationship is, main reason is yesterday India voted in the favor of two-state solution. The what is a two-state solution? UPSC had asked earlier in the previously this related with what? In 2015, this was a PYQ of 2015 or 16, but this was a PYQ. So we are going to discuss what exactly the two-state solution. Two-state solution, it doesn't mean nothing much difference. It is just there should be a separate land for Israel and there should be the separate country for the Palestine. Separate country for the Israel and separate country for the Palestine. And the tragedy is this thing: the first UN resolution of 1945 that was on this two-state solution. The first UN resolution, UNGA resolution in 1945, that was on this two-state solution. Since then, we are struggling to implement this resolution. The reason is being because of some power conflict and the many war. If you see the most fragile region in the world, that is West Asia. Because if occupant encouragement taken some other people's land, this is bound to happen. But this is a one state solution. Our issue is what exactly India is voting against Israel mean for the India Israel bilateral ties. Okay, so one by one we are going to discuss. Before that, I just want to show you what exactly the Israel Gaza Strip, 10th of October 2023. This was the earlier map, but the till now today is 15th of September 2025. It's been around 23 months of war. Israel is raging, building the destructing the buildings in Gaza, and completely Gaza destruction. Around 2.4 million population of Gaza is under starvation. Okay, this is Jerusalem, and this was the initial map of Golan Heights. UPSC has asked, and this topic is very important. UPSC asked the question on Golan Heights also, the Jerusalem, Dead Sea, Gaza Strip, Israel border, the Sinai Peninsula. This topic is too much favorite for UPSC in prelims also, in mains also. Okay, so what are the angles of India bilateral relationship? India and Israel bilateral relationship we are going to discuss today is, first one is this one. And in this, I would divide the relationship between India and Israel in three domains at three levels. First one is bilateral level. Second one will be the regional level. And third one will be the global level. Why I have divided in this manner? Because India is engaging with Israel at these three levels. Okay, so this is one of the way to just start the particular our answer. Okay, at a bilateral level, as I have mentioned, the security, agriculture, economy and trade. Apart from this point, I just want to highlight the examples. See, in 1971, Israel was the biggest supporter of India's arm. In Israel is one of the supporter of India's 1971 war against the Pakistan, East Pakistan. Okay, even the 1990, the data provided by the Israeli government that helped India to win the Kargil war. This was our security ties. 1971 and 1999. Israel, Kargil, India, Pakistan, Kargil war. Okay, so this much ties we have. Even we are adopting the technology, air defense technology on the lines of Iron Dome of Israel. Okay, so this is one aspect of the bilateral security dialogue. Apart from this security, India and Israel have very good economic ties. What are the economic ties? The best is the agriculture practices. In economy also, if you go to the agriculture, service sector, technology service, science and technology, so all this combined together boost the India and Israel bilateral relationship. Agriculture, if you remember, Mojave Desert of Israel is fully, Israel is 3/4. I will show you the map exactly. See, this region of Israel is fully, this region of Israel is fully desert. That is called Mojave Desert. Despite 2/3 of land is desert, Israel is most advanced country in the West Asia. We call as a Middle East. Okay, the reason is this: because of the Israel's advancement in the economy, in technology, Israel's advancement in the agriculture. There is specifically mosaic. One particular term is there for the agriculture, water resilience agriculture system in the Israel, and we are adopting because we are exploiting the. We are the largest extractor of the groundwater. 80% extraction done by the India. India is the largest groundwater extracting country in the world. So we are adopting the best agriculture practices, irrigation and farming from the Israel. So we have this kind of economic ties with Israel. The next is trade. Israel is a very important trade partner. If you see, just 2 days back only, we have signed the BIT, bilateral investment treaty. Okay, BIT, bilateral investment treaty done. So this helps India, and this will be the India's first agreement BIT with any of the OECD country. Then this is the, we are discussing the bilateral ties with Israel in various domains. Security we have discussed, the economy we have discussed. Now we are seeing the regional level dimension. Okay, regional level. If you see the West Asia, West Asia is the most fragile region in the world since Second World War. But still, we are engaging and we are maintaining our strategic autonomy, and that strategic autonomy shows we have around 9 million diaspora in West Asia. So we have to engage with Israel and other Gulf countries. India is engaging with even the West Asian other countries also. UAE, India, if you see, India have very good ties with not only the Israel but Iran, UAE, Saudi Arabia. Why? Because our own policy of grand policy of strategic autonomy. So this is a one dimension. We want to balance our relationship with Arab countries also and Israel also. So we actually are engaging with at the regional level in West Asia with Israel also and Gulf countries also. Then is, if you see the recent 12-day war between Israel and Iran, India was one of the party too much vocal for the dialogue, discussion and dialogue. Okay, so this is a one aspect. The second one is connectivity. If you remember, IMAC, India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor. Okay, this is also connectivity, and this connectivity IMAC 2000 means this was the enacted during the India's India's G20 chairmanship. But this IMAC provides the connectivity to the West Asia and Europe. And if you see the 2025 2025 prelims paper, there was one question on what exactly the purpose of international north-south corridor, INSTIC, International Transport North-South Corridor. Purpose, Azerbaijan and Europe. The same way UPSC can ask you question in the 2026 on what is the main purpose, which exactly the countries are connected with the India, Middle East, Europe corridor. Okay, so this is the regional connectivity dialogue. Then comes to the I2U2. This is 2020. The biggest achievement of this I2U2 is India's regional diplomacy. If you see the membership of the I2U2, India and Israel and EU. This was the first step before the 10th of October 2023 terrorist attack. Okay, this was the milestone. India act as a bridge between the Israel on one hand and the Gulf countries on other hand. This was the peace process beginning, but post 10th of October 2023 attack, terrorist attack, that was completely derailed the peace process in the West Asia. Okay, so this is a regional level connectivity. Now, if you see the global dimension, first is Israel is hardcore support of India's UNSC membership. Okay, this is the first. Then second, Israel is a supporter of India's space ambitions. Okay, most of the times if you see IAS officers in India, they mostly challenge, they used to visit Israel for the training purposes. Okay, training and capacity building. Under the mission Karma Yogi, our Ministry of Personnel and Training, they are sending our training IAS officer to Israel to get a training. Okay, so this is one of the dimension, and the dimension is based on the at a global level. The dimension is based on the US's hardcore support to the Israel's hardcore support to the India's UNSC membership. Then global power emerging as Israel is nuclear power. Similar the case with Israel is undeclared nuclear power. Okay, you have to remember implicitly Israel's PM Benjamin Netanyahu has accepted that they have the tactical nuclear weapons, and that's why the Iran quest is one for the nuclear weapon. Iran also want to develop their own nuclear weapon. Okay, but in the nuclear technology, India and Israel have support, and in Israel is support of India's membership to the NSG, that is nuclear supplier group. Okay, this is one global power, and the second dimension of this global level is emerging multipolar world order. Emerging multipolar world order, that means the gradual decline of the US's hegemony and the rise of middle power, that is India and Israel. If you see the Iran also is a rising middle power. In this domain, India and Israel have very good relationship. Then the next dimension is global initiatives. The champions of climate like mission CDRI and the other climate diplomacy. In the basically if you see, there is climate diplomacy. Israel is vocal for climate diplomacy. Similar the case with India, and Israel has shown the willingness to join International Solar Alliance, Mission Life, and Coalition for Disaster Resilience Infrastructure. Okay, so these are the initiatives led by India, and Israel has shown the interest to join this group at a global level. The one more dimension is terrorism. Okay, India and Israel is at the UN level. Israel supports India's 1996 UN Convention on Terrorism, because there is no official definition of terrorism. That's why our foreign minister always used to say that there is no double standard on the terrorism. And China used to do what China used to do. China used to always propagate there is the good terrorism, bad terrorism. But this convention made the exact definition of what constitutes the terrorism. In this, Israel supports India's stand on terrorism, and even the post Pahalgam attack and recent attack in the Jerusalem 2 days back, India condemned that attack. Even India condemned the 10th of October 2023 terrorist attack, because terrorists anywhere is threat to the everywhere. Okay, so India and Israel is victim of the terrorism, so called the back terrorism. Okay, so this is one dimension. India and Israel are contributing, and they have the global level partnership. They both are vocal at a global platform for the universal terrorist definition. Okay, this is a three levels of dimension between India and Israel. The next move is one dimension I forgot the mention, that is a India Israel historical dimension. Okay, India Israel historical dimension from the Gandhi's 1899 Boer War to the present Hyper City port supported by India's one private industrialist. This is the level of maturity. This is the level of bilateral engagement between India and Israel. Okay, so despite having these things, there are concerns, and that concerns always led to the, despite the see 9 days back we have signed the BIT bilateral investment treaty with Israel, and 2 days back we voted against Israel. That sometimes erode the trust between the so-called Gehri Dosti, because in 2022 the Israel's PM officially explicitly mentioned that India and Israel have Gehri Dosti, deep friendship ties. Okay, because the two, we have established the bilateral relationship with Israel in 1992, even though we recognize Israel in 1950, but we officially established the bilateral ties with Israel in 1992. So Israel PM Bennett said that India and Israel have the Gehri Dosti kind of relationship. Okay, but that relationship Gehri Dosti have some constraint. We are going to discuss now what these are constraint. Okay, see, these are the key level, bilateral level, security cooperation. And who knows the Pegasus issue? Okay, this is one of the issue in bilateral ties. Okay, what is this issue? Pegasus. This was the one software which was developed by the Israel's state-run intelligence bureau, Mossad. This is organization intelligence bureau, like we have IB. Similarly, the Mossad work as a IB for the Israel government, and that Pegasus software was given to the used in India to target particular individuals. So that was one of the issue which erode the trust. And obviously the recent one is about New York Declaration, which India has supported and voted in the favor of this resolution. The resolution specifically mentioned about how the particular two-state solution can be achieved. Okay, so this is one of the concern between India-Israel relationship. The next one at a regional level. This is bilateral level. Even the technology transport, food security, and there is sanitary and phytosanitary limitations are there in economic domain. The trade limitations, the limited volume of the trade between India and Israel, these are the constraint at a bilateral level. Regional level, India is walking on the tightrope. In how India is walking on the tightrope, the reason is West Asia instability, Israel. Because if you see, this is our India, Israel on one hand, and Arab state on other hand. We have cultural 9.5 million. We are the second largest import of the crude oil, and that crude oil 80% comes from the West Asia. This Then we have the minority population, second largest. Similarly, at agri, security, regional, these are the areas of cooperation between the India Israel, and these are the areas of cooperation between India and Gulf state. So India is walking on the tightrope, and it is sometimes very difficult to balance, difficult to calm the Iran on the one hand and Gulf countries on the one hand, and the other hand Israel. So this is one of the regional level constraint. And if you write the answer, do mention the particular this triangle. This will help you to boost your at least 0.5 marks. Okay, then this is just one dimension, India, Saudi Arabia. And the one more thing, even this also, India tried through I2U2, but that was failed post this miserable. Then the strategic autonomy, shifting the alliances. Particularly, we have very grand strategy. Our grand strategy is the strategic autonomy. We don't want to be the bandwagoning particular country. We don't want to be any part of any bloc. We want to protect our core national interests, and we want to have friendly relationship. That was the core argument yesterday when India voted in favor of the two-state solution, because for the any war is not a solution for anything in the world. War is not solution. War is not a permanent thing, permanent way or final end to achieve the mean. To achieve the end, war is not a mean. Okay, but the discussion, dialogue, and debate is the only way, and that's why India has supported yesterday's, day before yesterday's, New York Declaration, based New York Declaration of UN. Okay, that basically the declaration support the two-state solution, but that does not hampering India's that much interest. The what way India has facing the challenges at the bilateral level, the security pexus issue, then the regional level, the balancing the one hand Arab state and the second hand Israel. Now apart from this two level, the third will be automatically the level will be the global level. Okay, so what global level is happening? UNSC reform, India's bid for the permanent seat, the balancing the power between US China rivalry, then the Russia conflict, the global level. See, on the one hand, India is managing the ties between Israel also, Arab also. But at a global level, if you see, the power balance is shifting. Power balance, Israel is ally of USA. Close. If you say there is one particular term, Israel is called like the 51st state of USA, and Israel is a creation of USA. Okay, so most of the time it's often said that the Israel is a creation. So if you see, most of the time, like many times, USA supported, always USA is a perennial supporter of Israel. That is the one issue. But India, on other hand, have very good ties with Russia also, China also, and even the Saudi Arabia also. This is the thing, and in this domain also, if you see recent SEO summit where India, China, and Russia, they are projecting they are the strong leaders, and that was the happening. And this is a true also, because the Russia, China, and India are emerging as a big power, big pillars of the global political order. But on the other hand, the Israel's view on global order, Israel's view, Israel's relationship with USA, and Israel's stand on the recent, if you see, Israel attacked Qatar also 2 days back. That was the very issue, the safety and security of the Gulf state. In this domain, India and Israel shows the divergence, and this creates the strain between India and Israel ties. Okay, so issues are there, constraints are there at a regional level, bilateral level, and the global level. So what obviously there are the recommendations, what obviously we can do, the best way is to discussion and dialogue. So now we are going to see what are the ways Israel and India can manage their future bilateral relationship. Okay, now come to, this is the strengthen diplomacy. The first point itself shows that how to strengthen the India Israel bilateral ties. Okay, so first one is discussion and dialogue. 2 days back, Israel's foreign minister and Israel finance minister visited India. They signed this BID, and they showed that India and Israel have very deepened the ties. That ties is not limited to the only on the particular on paper. Okay, that expand from the paper to action. So first obviously will be the discussion and dialogue. The next one will be how India is managing at a bilateral level. India can have discussion and dialogue. Then India can engage at the security level through military exercises, the science and technology area cooperation, Okay, health sector area cooperation. His rejuvenating the historical type, and people to people contact, that is called as a track 2.0 diplomacy or 1.5 diplomacy. Okay, academic relationship. So this can be done at a bilateral level. Okay, bilateral level, India has to engage with Israel and Israel has to engage with India because of their emerging power status. Okay, so these are the ways where bilaterally we can resolve the issues between India and Israel. Now come to the regional level. India is maintaining a very strategic relationship between the Gulf countries also and Israel also. But apart from this, what India can do to just further the ties between the Israel is implementation of IMAC, then I2U2 further strengthening the cooperation, then the dialogue between India, Israel, USA. This can be done at a regional level to solve, and even the Israel and USA along with India shows the interest to maintain the security post 10th of October attack in the Indian Ocean region, because India provide the security across the Indian Ocean region, most specifically from the Somali pirates. Okay, these are the regional level way forward where India and Israel can manage their bilateral ties. Then now come to the global level. If you see global ties, global level, first is FATF, then UN, then World Bank, IMF, WTO, and one most UNFCC, and one is terrorism. At a global level, at this in this domain, India and Israel can contribute and can work together to hasten or to resolve their bilateral or global issues. First is FATF, money laundering and terrorism financing. This can both countries can engage at this platform to resolve the bilateral money laundering and terrorist financing issue. In UN, at a UN platform, even though India said that the resolution, we supported the resolution, but that for the cause of India stand on Vasudev Kutumbakam. Okay, India's perennial support to the principle of Vasudev Kutumbakam. Then the World Bank, the soft World Bank, IMF, as we know, the World Bank and IMF is mostly controlled by the Western countries, and Israel have clout to provide the too much assistance to the India in the world. And despite this, the India and Israel can do a little bit more to the development of the global south. Okay, this is of the one time. Then terrorism, as I said earlier also, even though Israel is supporting, but Israel outrightly criticizing the terrorism and religion-based terrorism attacks. But in our case, we are not supporting any kind of terrorism, and we not in the white terrorism or black terrorism or Islamic terrorism. We are we are not specifically targeting any kind of terrorism. We are targeting whole terrorism as a whole, terrorism as a one thing. But Israel specifically targets to the particular Islamic terrorism. So in this domain is at a terrorism, to contain the terrorism, Israel and India can further their technology enhancement, then further their intelligence sharing to reduce or contain the terrorism spread. Then next comes to the UNFCC. Climate diplomacy. Climate diplomacy. In this climate diplomacy, India and Israel can contribute, as India is a most developing, and India is supporting the international initiatives like International Solar Alliance, then the CDRI, Climate Disaster Resilience Coalition, and the other initiatives. For example, the recently quantified goal and Paris Agreement global stock take. Okay, in this, Israel can support and can learn from India how to tackle the particular climate change issue. Okay, and Israel can support India in strengthening the how agriculture sector, enhance the agriculture sector productivity. Okay, this is one of the, and WTO, because most of the time Israel's technology is based from the Western countries, adopted from the Western countries, and WTO, this led to the confrontation between the India and Israel and West countries. So at this level, WTO, trade related barriers and trade related issue can be resolved on the WTO platform between India and Israel. Okay, these are the way forward, and these are the way forward to manage India Israel relationship. As earlier also I mentioned, the India and Israel, particularly for the prelims, Israel topic is perennially important. From the two-state solution to the Golan Heights to the Dead Sea to the bordering countries of Sinai Peninsula, UPSC had asked question on this in the prelims. Okay, so kindly do look particularly the map of Israel, where exactly the bordering countries of Israel. Even 2022, I remember there was a question on the Levant region. Okay, two-state solution, the Golan Height, Dead Sea, countries bordering Mediterranean Sea. Okay, Abraham Accord. This is 2023 question. This is a 11. This is 2022 question. So UPSC is focusing on this area. That's why this topic is very important for us to crack, means to crack the prelims, and this is very important in the prelims also. Means particularly they are focusing how India can manage the India's ties with Israel and India's ties with Gulf countries. Okay, these are the conclusion. You can go to this New York Declaration. Remember the New York Declaration. What, and it is related to what? Okay. Then with reference to India's foreign policy initiative, consider these are the India supported. You can go, and 2025. If you see 2025, there was question on AI summit, and in 2021 there was question on New York Declaration, London Declaration on forest. So this such kind of declaration of global importance are perennial important. Do look at exactly the what exactly the declaration is, and India stand on that particular declaration. Done. So we are moving forward towards main question, how the recently voted in the favor of generalism new declaration, the rising two-state solution is right. Okay, in this context, critically examine the how India can balance the its strategic autonomy and West Asia upholding the particular its commitment towards the multilateralism, strategic autonomy and global peace. Okay, so in this the basically question about how India can manage at a multilateral level, at a strategic autonomy. This is a bilateral level and global level. This is nothing but India Israel ties. I'm giving a short. The first one bilateral level, the second one regional level, third one global level. In this also there are defense, economy, people to people and historical ties, and in this also there are certain issues and way forward. You can make such kind of notes in your one pager. India Israel, this will be the vertical, this will be the horizontal. What exactly the domain regional level, I2U2 Abraham Accord, then IMAC connectivity project. In this also connectivity, bilateral political, bilateral economic domain. Then at the global level, UNSC, terrorism, UN, FATF, climate diplomacy. Okay, similarly here will be the certain issues, here will be also certain issues, here also certain issue, and what are the way forward. This will make your this India Israel relationship topic comprehensively, holistically. If you write this way, definitely you will get good marks. Okay, moving forward, apart from the Israel, the our another topic of discussion is India's very friendly country. Even though the see ocean countries, we call them as a large ocean countries. Even the other countries, Western countries specifically mention the small island countries, but we call it as a large ocean country. So apart from Israel, just below the east of Israel is this one. And why we are discussing this? Because the Prime Minister of Mauritius is in India for the 6-day visit. Yesterday he visited the Kashi, and particular the development project, development and aid, then the bilateral ties, and we have very strong ties because 70% of Mauritius population is Indian origin. And why this is origin? Because Mauritius was the British colony, and if you know the Girmitia endangered labor case, this was spread, and this country is, even though its location, its economy, its security, and its role at the heart of the West Indian Ocean makes it very significant country for India. This is a broader topic, comes under India and its relationship with global south, particularly the countries and Asia, Africa, because Mauritius called as a gateway for the Africa. Okay, this is Africa in this also, particularly Mauritius. Then this is the thing. Now why I have discussed the news, and if you want to see the location of Mauritius, I think this map is wrong because they have shown this is incorrect. Actually, this is the Indian Ocean. This side is a Mauritius. Okay, this side is a Mauritius. Done. Visit, as I mentioned, the Navin Chandra Ramo Golam. Name itself shows that this is Indian origin. So 70% population of the Mauritius is Indian origin. Now, apart from the bilateral visit, high level visit, everything is okay. But how these ties evolved, these ties, if you see the 12th March is Mauritius Independence Day, and this day in 1930 Gandhiji start Satyagraha March, Dandi March. Okay, and because of this reason they celebrate their independence on 12th of March. Okay, done. Now come to the this kind of key highlights of the recent testament of the deep civilization, this kind of the special aid package, as this is Mauritius is a small country, needs help, and India as a leader of global south, as a philosophy, as a follower of the principle Vasudeva Kutumbakam, we tend to help many countries of global south, and Mauritius is one of the global south, and we are supporting through financial aid, through defense technology, through the humanitarian aid. And if you remember, 2 days back also we provided, in the month of April, 2 days back also we provided some help to the Mauritius, and in 2025 April month, our for guys, do you remember the 13th Jyotirlinga? The 13th Jyotirlinga is lake. One lake is there, Talav, that is a Ponna Talav, something is there. This is called as 13th Jyotirlinga that located in the Mauritius. Okay, this Talav exactly not, but one Talav is there which considered as the 13th Jyotirlingas. Okay, done. Now we are discussing what are the key areas of cooperation between India and Mauritius. This is particularly here we are developing airport, one jetty strip, and this strip help a lot to provide humanitarian assistance to the Mauritius. The one thing, the second thing is India's vision of earlier Sagar and now Mahasagar. Okay, this is the vision. I will discuss about what exactly this issue is. Okay, this issue is nothing but this Chagos Archipelago and Diego Garcia Island in the Indian Ocean, West Indian Ocean, given to the USS base, USS military base, and India recognized Mauritius sovereignty on this base. But there is a bone of condition. Even the International Court of Justice (ICJ), International Court of Justice, given this Chagos Archipelago to the Mauritius, but still because of superpower and politics and everything, US is not ready to give. In the last year only, UK decided to give complete Chagos Archipelago ownership sovereignty to the Mauritius, except Diego Garcia. Diagorasia is a part of this Chagos Archipelago Islands. Okay, then these are the areas of cooperation. First, if you see the economy, this is the volume. And if you want to study any country's relationship, economy, defense, security, cultural, historical, regional, global, science and technology, health, these are the areas where generally countries contribute, means cooperate. Okay, so this is a one dimension. That is a in economy also. If you see, Mauritius is one of the good FDI source. The second one is investment FDI source. The second one is India's trade balance. India's employment, overseas employment is good destination for the, this is the support to trade volume. Okay, then now strategic security, defense and cooperation. Okay, as I already told, the Agalega Island airstrip we are developing is one of the states in Seychelles also. We consider as a responsible nation. So even the Seychelles, Mauritius, all the those are the countries in the West Asian Ocean. We are supporting them through the non-reciprocity approach. Okay, this is just one example. Humanitarian assistance aid during the services. And if you see anti-piracy operations, Somali pirates, if you hear about the Somali pirates, how they rebellions, how they attack the ship in the West Asian Ocean, and Indian Navy is prompt providing the support to the those ships are attacked. Okay, and this is the humanitarian assistance during the cyclone. The best example is 2024 cyclone, when the most of the Mauritius mainland was affected by the cyclone, and India supported through not only the technologically providing the early forecasting system through IMD, but through the humanitarian assistance also. Okay, so this is a one of the strategies, and the location of the Mauritius provide India advantage to just see and act as a watch guardian of the West Indian Ocean. Okay, Indian Navy act as a police of the West Asian nation. Okay, even that role is recognized by UN also. That role has recognized by the USA also. Even in the climate domain, IMD act as a regional forecasting unit of the global UN system. Okay. Now, if you come to the people to nearly 60, as I earlier told, the nearly 68%, and why this population is 68%, that much too much popular, because of the endangered labor policy of the Britishers since 1834 to 19th century. The most of the population of endangered labor, they settled there only, and now they are the descendant. This is one of the diaspora diplomacy, and one main in UPSC main syllabus there is one point, that diaspora diplomacy, how diaspora is helping. If you know, India is the largest recipient of the remittances according to World Bank report, and this is the reason why 68% the population of the Mauritius is Indian origin. Okay, then IIT Madras and IIT signed MOU with the University of Mauritius expanding and the regional even the language issue, means language, most of the people they speak either Hindi or some Indian state language. Okay, that is Malayali. Okay, Girimetia River migration system, the historical and cultural type, demographic, Pravasi Ghat. Okay, UNESCO's World Heritage Site, symbol of the international migration. Done. Now, if we come to the regional and global dimension, that is India's neighborhood Paga, and the Sagar has transformed to the Mahasagar. Okay, and Mauritius have joined the cooperation in International Solar Alliance. Regional level, Mauritius act as gateway for the Africa. Okay, and that gateway is very strong, because through the Mauritius we generally tend to provide the support to the ASEAN countries. Okay, this is a one of the dimension. Apart from this, India have joined the Indian Ocean Rim Association. In that also, India is a leader of the Indian Ocean Rim Association. Mauritius is a member of that IOAR. Okay, this is a one dimension. Globally, at a global level, IOAR. If you see, this is the climate diplomacy, and those are the countries are mostly affected by the climate change impact, and India is vocal for the global south cause, and Mauritius is one of the global south country. So India is mostly providing for the climate diplomacy at the global level. Then Africa factor, India Africa Forum Summit, and India gateway, means India's passage to Africa pass through Mauritius. This is the one of the dimension. Okay, and these are the global level dimensions how India and Mauritius are cooperating. The China factor, because China is heavily investing BRI and ring of pulse policy of China is making India to invest too much, even the parliament building, even the new GT strip, new airport, humanitarian aid to the small island countries, because if China enter the Indian Ocean region, then it is very difficult. Now, actually, China has started to expand its navy ships and naval bases in the Indian Ocean region, but Djibouti might be, everyone knows about the China's base in the Djibouti. Similarly, India is developing its own jetty in its own strip in the Agalega Islands and Mauritius. In this domain, India and Mauritius are good partners because of the one of the China factor. Then the next one is a strategic balancing. This one is like how we are going to balance, because the if you see Mauritius population, Mauritius size and India size, India is one of the largest country by geography also and by its military might also. India is providing net security cover in Indian Ocean region. The dependency, security threat, climate change, even in Mauritius also. If you see, there is competition between Mauritius and Seychelles. Both want, so India at this level also is balancing Mauritius and Seychelles. These are the one challenge, means India is facing the challenge between the Mauritius and Seychelles. Then the next one is this one, the dependency, then the security provider. And one more issue, that is, even though India have recognized the sovereignty of Mauritius on Chagos archipelago, but India did not recognize the sovereignty of the Mauritius on Diego Garcia Island. So this is one of the bone of contention point which India and Mauritius, which hampering India Mauritius bilateral ties. Okay, the next one is this one, climate vulnerability and trade imbalance. This is trade imbalance. So what we can do, what apart from this, what we can do, the main is either engage discussion, dialogue, second thing climate, and follow the IK Gujarat doctrine, the non-reciprocity. Anyhow, the gateway for the Africa is through Mauritius, and 70% of Mauritius population is Indian origin, and India have good advantage to take that population in the confidence and get enter into the Africa, because as we said that this 21st century is African and Asian century. So the competition, the great land of game is Africa, and Mauritius act as a entry pass for India. So India has to discuss and dialogue with Mauritius on so-called bilateral issues. The next one, IOAR. India should engage the bilateral. India can implement the IK Gujarat doctrine. This doctrine talks about particularly how India can engage with its neighbor, and Mauritius is India's extended neighbor. Okay, this is a one of the point. India is most secondary. India can hasten its implementation of the project in Agalega Island, because there is a criticism from the African and the other Harbinji factor. They said that India is very delay in implementing its commitment. So if we enhance our capacity, if we provide them the capacity by enhancing our implementation of the project, that will help boost the morale of the people, and that will impact indirectly the foreign policy. Okay, this is a climate, this is the way forward provided India Mauritius relationship. Okay, then this is security collaboration, and as we know, the Somali pirates always tend to attack the ships passing through the West Asia. That creates the security issue, and India as a vision or the leader of the Indian Ocean region can provide the security to the act as a safety net across the Indian Ocean region. Okay, this is at the and one of the important dimension is cultural. So security, then next dimension is cultural. Use the 70% of population's potential in India's interest, and that remittances, that the work that the presentation of the particular representation in the legislature, representation in the government institution, that would help India to deal with the challenges between India and Mauritius relationship. This is a one of the cultural ties. We Ramayana circuit, cultural tourism, everything we can develop, and tourism is one of the sector we tend to focus on the Maldives, but similarly we can our tourists can go to the Mauritius also, because this is cheap also, and even though you will get the experience also. Okay, the tourism sector, hospitality sector, health sector, education sector, India can enhance its partnership with Mauritius. This will help to reduce the constraint, and this will help to build the trust. Ultimately what matters in relationship, bilateral relationship, the trust is a paramount important in any relationship, individual relationship, or countries individual relationship, even the bilateral relationship. What matters, that is the trust. Trust is the foundation of each and every interactions, each and every engagement. Okay, so this is a one dimension. Now this is a conclusion, as we have end up with the students. This is a Pravasi Guard, this is like Jan Aushadhi Kendra, Sagar policy. You can mark this question. Okay, critically examine the recent development in the culture. Now we have come to the end. I just want to share you some thoughts, insights. We have recently conducted the test regarding the our as I told earlier, also Sankalp Sarthi mentorship program, and there was awesome response from the student. You can see you can experience it, and you can join the Sankalp Sarthi programming. But my point is this: just get experience of the Sankalp Sarthi. You will get idea how this program is helping to the people, and to the aspirant, those who want to specifically target the 2026 attempt. They can join this program. This is awesome programming. Here Sankalp Sarthi, we provide mentorship, one-to-one mentorship, prelims test and mains test, and we are following one study approach. This one study approach consists of both prelims also, mains also. For example, if last week we conducted a test on polity, so there will be the prelims test on polity, and there will be the mains test on polity, because in polity 125 in the mains, GS2, and 20 to 25 in prelims, GS paper. This is the weightage of polity. In this way, and then evaluation of your answer copies and personal feedback. From the personal feedback to the wake uping student at 4 a.m. to follow schedule. Even before following, some meditation is there included, and some kind of the motivation from our team only. Okay, so this is the features of Sankalp Sarthi. So do join Sankalp Sarthi. You will get exactly idea, and try to make sure that you are studying well. Today was the IR day. I have covered the two topics, two countries relationship. India-Israel is a important relationship, but in the broader perspective, India-Mauritius relationship you can manage. India-Mauritius relationship you can manage in the African context. Okay. Thank you for your patience, and thanks a lot for the listening this my 45 to 50 minute discussion. Thank you.